Hello and welcome to Fluent English Journey. Do you want to speak English that flows naturally, just like a native? You're in the right place. Together, we'll practice stories, conversations, and simple tricks that make your English sound confident and alive. Subscribe now and join our journey to fluent English. Have you ever heard someone say, "It's raining cats and dogs," or "break the ice," and wondered, what do they really mean? Today, we will go on a journey where English comes alive, where words are not just words, where idioms, these small, colorful phrases, can make you sound like a confident, natural speaker. Imagine this. You are talking to someone in English. You want to show you understand the language deeply, not just the surface words. You want your sentences to feel alive, exciting, like they are dancing in the air. That's what idioms do. They take a simple sentence and turn it into something memorable. But here's the secret. Most people know idioms but never use them. They memorize them. They forget them. Today, we will do something different. We will not just learn idioms. We will feel them, explore them, and practice them as if they are part of our life. Let's start with a simple one. Piece of cake. You might think, okay, cake. I understand. But listen carefully. When someone says, "This exam was a piece of cake," they are not talking about dessert. They mean it was very easy. Easy, simple, effortless. Now, imagine you are at work. Your boss asks, "Did you finish the report?" Instead of saying, "Yes, it was easy," you can say, "Yes, it was a piece of cake." Do you feel that difference? That small change makes your English sound natural, like you are part of the language, not just translating word by word from your own language. Here's another one. Break the ice. Imagine a room full of people who don't know each other. The atmosphere is quiet, maybe a little tense. Someone starts a joke or asks a question. Suddenly, people start talking. The tension disappears. That's breaking the ice. It's about starting conversation, making people comfortable. Now, think about your life. The first day at school, meeting new colleagues, talking to someone you like. How often do you need to break the ice? And if you know this idiom, you can use it naturally in English. I tried to break the ice by telling a funny story. See? Simple, natural, and powerful. Idioms are not just fun. They are windows into the culture. They show how people think, feel, and express themselves. For example, hit the nail on the head. Imagine a hammer. You want to hit the nail exactly in the center. If you miss, the nail bends. If you hit correctly, it's perfect. That's exactly what this idiom means, to be exactly right. If someone says, "You hit the nail on the head with your idea," it means your idea is perfect. Precise. Accurate. See how English becomes more than words? It becomes a picture, a story, a feeling. Now, here's the challenge. Learning idioms is not about memorizing lists. It's about practice. Using them in your sentences. Feeling them in your mouth. Saying them aloud. Here is a little experiment. Take one idiom you like, maybe a piece of cake. Make 3 sentences with it. Say them slowly. Speak clearly. Imagine you are talking to a friend. The homework was a piece of cake. Making breakfast was a piece of cake. Learning English can be a piece of cake if you practice daily. Do you notice something? When you speak idioms naturally, your English becomes richer. People will listen, they will understand, and they will be impressed. Here's a secret tip. Idioms often have emotions hidden inside them. Spill the beans. You might imagine someone dropping beans on the floor. Funny, right? But it means to reveal a secret. To tell something that was supposed to be hidden. If you say, "Don't spill the beans about the surprise party," your English suddenly becomes expressive, emotional, alive. Idioms are like spices in cooking. Without them, your English is plain. With them, it becomes tasty, exciting, unforgettable. As we go through this journey, remember, we are not racing. We are exploring. We are noticing feelings, situations, and pictures that idioms create. We are learning to use them naturally, slowly, step by step. By the end of this hour, you will have not just a list of idioms. You will have tools to speak with confidence, to sound natural, to show emotion, and to be understood clearly. You will see English not as a challenge, but as a journey you enjoy, like a story unfolding. So, take a deep breath, relax your mouth, open your ears, and get ready. We're about to enter the world of advanced idioms, one story, one phrase, one feeling at a time. Have you ever wondered why some people sound so natural when they speak English? It's not just the words they use. It's the phrases, the expressions, the little idioms that make their English flow like a conversation with a friend. Today, we will explore idioms that you can use every day. Not just in books, not just in exams, but in your real life, at school, at work, with friends, and even at home. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning, you see your friend, and you want to say something interesting, something that makes them smile. That's where idioms come in. Let's start with a very simple one, under the weather. Picture this. You wake up, your head hurts, your throat feels scratchy, your energy is low. You are not feeling good. Instead of saying, I am sick, you can say, I am feeling under the weather today. Doesn't it sound more natural? It gives the listener a picture. They can imagine clouds, rain, maybe even fog. It's not just words. It's English alive. Now, imagine your friend asks, are you okay? You smile a little and say, I'm just a bit under the weather, but I'll be fine. That's storytelling with idioms. Simple, friendly, expressive. Next, let's try hit the books. This one is for students, for learners, for anyone who wants to study. Imagine your friend says, I have an exam tomorrow. You could say, you need to study hard. But if you say, you need to hit the books, it sounds much more natural. Strong, confident. Hitting the books is not violent, of course. It just means studying with focus. Let's practice together. I can't go out tonight. I need to hit the books. She is hitting the books for her big test. Hear how it feels different from just saying, I need to study? English becomes alive. It's like a picture in your mind. You can see the books. You can feel the effort. That is the magic of idioms. Now, imagine a situation at work. Your boss says, we need this project done fast. You might want to say, I will work quickly. But here's a fun idiom. Burn the midnight oil. Picture this, a lamp in the night, someone working while the world sleeps. That's burning the midnight oil. If you say, I will burn the midnight oil to finish the report, it sounds natural, expressive, professional. You are not just saying, I will work late. You are telling a small story. You are showing your effort, your commitment, and your English just became more alive. Here's a very friendly one. Catch some Z's. Imagine your little brother or sister yawning, your friend looking tired. Instead of saying, I need to sleep, you can say, I need to catch some Z's. Funny, right? But it is very natural. People smile when they hear it. You are not just speaking English. You are speaking in a way that people enjoy listening to. Try it. I'm going to catch some Z's before the party tonight. After a long day, I really need to catch some Z's. See how easy it is? It feels like a conversation with a friend, not a classroom. Let's talk about something a bit more emotional. Break the bank. Imagine you want to buy something expensive, maybe a gift, maybe a gadget. Instead of saying, it is very expensive, you can say, it will break the bank. Picture a bank breaking funny, right? But instantly, people understand. I want this new phone, but it will break the bank. We wanted to travel to Paris, but it might break the bank. Idioms like this make your English sound natural, relatable, like you are sharing a thought, not translating word by word. Here's a story to help you remember. A friend of mine wanted to buy a new bike. She saved money for months. Then she found the perfect one. It was shiny, fast, and beautiful. but the price was huge. She said, "Wow, this bike will break the bank." Her friends laughed, understood immediately, and helped her find a solution. That's how idioms work. They connect people, ideas, and emotions. Another common idiom is let the cat out of the bag. Imagine planning a surprise party. Everyone is excited, hiding the secret. Suddenly, someone accidentally tells the guest. Oh no! They let the cat out of the bag. Fun, right? But very useful. Don't let the cat out of the bag about the meeting. I accidentally let the cat out of the bag, and now she knows about the surprise. By using idioms, your English becomes colorful, memorable, and fun. Now, here's a challenge for you. Pick 3 idioms from today's section. Maybe under the weather, hit the books, and catch some Z's. Make a small story using all 3. For example, yesterday I was feeling under the weather. I had an exam tomorrow, so I had to hit the books. But after a few hours, I was so tired, I needed to catch some Z's. Did you see how natural and easy it felt? Suddenly, you are not memorizing words. You are telling a story in English. That is the power of idioms. Before we finish this section, let's reflect. Idioms are everywhere, in movies, in songs, in conversations, in books. The more you listen and practice, the more you notice them. The more you notice them, the more natural your English becomes. And here is the secret. It is not about knowing hundreds of idioms at once. It is about using a few, slowly, naturally, and confidently. Step by step, day by day, your English becomes alive, expressive, and fluent. So today, remember these idioms. Under the weather, hit the books, burn the midnight oil, catch some Z's, break the bank, let the cat out of the bag. Speak them aloud. Make small sentences. Tell a story. Notice how your English feels different, more alive, more confident. Have you ever felt so happy, so excited, or so frustrated that simple words like happy or sad didn't seem enough? English has beautiful idioms that can help you. Show your feelings in a natural, colorful way. Imagine talking to a friend, telling them about your day, and instead of saying, "I'm very happy," you say, "I'm on cloud 9." Suddenly, your story feels alive. Your emotions feel real. And your listener smiles because they can imagine your happiness floating in the sky, high above the clouds. Let's start with that one, on cloud 9. Picture it. You won a prize, your favorite team won the game, or someone told you great news. You feel light, almost floating. That's being on cloud 9. I was on cloud 9 when I got the job offer. She was on cloud 9 after finishing the marathon. Hear the difference? It's not just words. It's a picture, a feeling. That is the power of idioms. Next, we have down in the dumps. Life isn't always happy. Sometimes we feel sad, low, or disappointed. Instead of just saying, "I am sad," imagine a small dump, a pile of rubbish. That's how this idiom works. I felt down in the dumps after the movie ended. He's been down in the dumps since he lost his wallet. By using this idiom, your English becomes expressive. People understand your feeling without needing long explanations. It's simple, natural, and emotional. Here's a fun one, walking on air. Imagine you just got amazing news. Maybe you passed a difficult exam, maybe someone praised your work. You feel light, almost like you are floating above the ground. That's walking on air. She was walking on air when she saw her test results. I'm walking on air because my friend is visiting today. Try saying it slowly. Feel the emotion. English is not just about grammar. It's about feelings. And idioms give your feelings wings. Sometimes we feel nervous or scared. English has a perfect idiom for that, butterflies in my stomach. Imagine little butterflies flying inside your stomach. Funny, right? But that's exactly how it feels. I had butterflies in my stomach before speaking in front of the class. He felt butterflies in his stomach before meeting his favorite singer. By using this idiom, your English sounds natural and you express your emotions clearly. People instantly understand what you are feeling. Here's an idiom for frustration: at my wit's end. Imagine thinking, trying, worrying, and suddenly you don't know what to do next. That is being at your wit's end. I was at my wit's end when my computer stopped working. She was at her wit's end because the project had so many problems. This idiom shows deep emotion, not just words. It's powerful, expressive, and natural in conversation. Let's explore one more. Jump for joy. Imagine receiving a gift, hearing good news, or achieving a goal. You are so happy you want to jump in the air. That's exactly what this idiom describes. I jumped for joy when I got the concert tickets. He jumped for joy after hearing about his promotion. By using idioms like this, your English storytelling becomes exciting. Listeners can feel your happiness, almost like they're there with you. Here's a little exercise. Think of a day when you felt strong emotions: happy, sad, nervous, or frustrated. Try to tell that story using idioms from today: on cloud nine, down in the dumps, walking on air, butterflies in my stomach, at my wit's end, jump for joy. Speak slowly, imagine the feelings, picture the story. For example, yesterday, I had butterflies in my stomach before giving my presentation. But after finishing, I was walking on air. My friends were jumping for joy with me. It was amazing. See how your story becomes alive? That's the goal. English is a living language. Idioms are the colors that paint it beautifully. Before we end this section, here's a reflection. Emotions are universal, but how we express them in English can be unique. Idioms allow you to share your feelings naturally, not just translate words. They help you connect with people, show your personality, and make your English memorable. The secret is to practice, feel, and speak slowly. Don't rush. Imagine the story. Feel the picture. Use the idiom naturally in your own sentences. So today, remember these idioms: on cloud nine, down in the dumps, walking on air, butterflies in my stomach, at my wit's end, jump for joy. Practice each one in small stories. Feel them. Speak them aloud. Let your emotions shine through your English. By the end of this journey, you won't just know idioms, you will live them in your daily conversations. Life is full of challenges. Sometimes we feel stuck, confused, or unsure about what to do. English has special idioms that help you talk about problems, solutions, and overcoming difficulties. When you use these idioms, your English becomes natural, confident, and expressive. Imagine telling a story about a problem you solved and using colorful phrases that make the listener feel your journey. That's exactly what idioms do. Let's start with when the going gets tough, the tough get going. It sounds long, but it's very useful. Imagine a situation. Your team has a big project, the deadline is close, and everything feels difficult. Instead of saying, "It's difficult, but we try harder," you can say, "When the going gets tough, the tough get going." It means when things are hard, strong people don't give up, they work even harder. Picture yourself in that situation. Feel the energy. Say it slowly. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Doesn't it sound powerful? It shows determination and courage in English. Next, we have bite the bullet. Imagine a moment when you have to do something difficult, something you don't want to do. Maybe you have to apologize, maybe you have to give a presentation. It's uncomfortable, but you have to face it. That's biting the bullet. I didn't want to speak first, but I bit the bullet and started my presentation. She bit the bullet and told the truth, even though it was hard. This idiom makes your English natural. It shows action, courage, and realism. You are not just talking, you are telling a story. Here's another one. Burning the candle at both ends. Imagine staying up late at night, waking up early in the morning, working nonstop. It's exhausting. That's burning the candle at both ends. I've been burning the candle at both ends to finish this project. He is burning the candle at both ends because of school and work. By using this idiom, you show not just the action, but the effort, the struggle, and the reality of life. It makes your English expressive, human, and relatable. Sometimes we have small problems, little obstacles. English has a fun idiom for that: hit a snag. Imagine sailing in a boat, suddenly hitting a small rock. That's a snag. It's a small problem, a challenge, but usually solvable. We were ready to start, but we hit a snag with the internet. She hit a snag when her phone battery died. By using this idiom, you explain challenges naturally, like telling a story to a friend. People understand immediately. Now, imagine a situation where you need to act fast and solve a problem. Think on your feet is the perfect idiom. Picture someone running, moving quickly, making decisions instantly. That's thinking on your feet. During the meeting, I had to think on my feet to answer difficult questions. He thought on his feet when the plan didn't work. This idiom shows intelligence, flexibility, and confidence. By using it, your English becomes dynamic, like real life, not just memorized phrases. Here's a story to help you remember. A friend of mine was organizing an outdoor event. Suddenly, it started raining heavily. Everyone panicked. But she stayed calm, thought on her feet, moved the chairs, covered the stage, and continued the event. People were impressed. Later, she said, I had to bite the bullet and think on my feet. We hit a few snags, but everything worked out. Did you see how many idioms she used naturally? It's like telling a story with action and emotion. Another very useful idiom is call it a day. Imagine you are working hard on a task and it's late. Instead of saying, let's stop working now, you can say, let's call it a day. Simple, natural, and friendly. After fixing the website for hours, we decided to call it a day. I'm tired. I'll call it a day and finish tomorrow. By using idioms like this, your English sounds like a conversation with a friend, not a textbook. Here's a little exercise. Think about a small challenge you faced recently. Maybe at school, at work, or at home. Try to tell your story using when the going gets tough, the tough get going, bite the bullet, burn the candle at both ends, hit a snag, think on your feet, call it a day. Speak slowly. Picture the situation. Feel the effort, the struggle, the solution. For example, yesterday, I hit a snag while cooking. I didn't have an ingredient, but I thought on my feet and found a substitute. I was burning the candle at both ends because I had to finish dinner and study. In the end, I called it a day feeling proud. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. See how alive your English feels? That is the power of idioms. Before we end this section, here's a reflection. Challenges are part of life. Idioms help you describe them naturally, express your effort, and show your confidence. They make your English sound realistic, not memorized. The secret is to practice these idioms in your own life. Use them in small stories, in conversations, even in thoughts. Step by step, day by day, your English becomes stronger, expressive, and confident. So remember these idioms today. When the going gets tough, the tough get going, bite the bullet, burning the candle at both ends, hit a snag, think on your feet, call it a day. Practice them. Use them. Speak them aloud. Let your English tell stories of challenges, effort, and solutions naturally. People make life interesting, don't they? Friends, family, colleagues, neighbors, our world is full of personalities, emotions, and connections. English has wonderful idioms that help you describe people, their behaviors, and your relationships naturally. When you use these idioms, your English sounds friendly, expressive, and alive, like a conversation with someone you know well. Imagine telling a story about a friend and using phrases that paint a clear picture of their personality. That's the magic of idioms. Let's start with the shoulder to cry on. Imagine you are feeling sad, upset, or worried. You need someone to listen, someone to support you. That's what this idiom means, a person who offers comfort. When I was upset about my exam, my best friend was a shoulder to cry on. She always has a shoulder to cry on whenever she needs advice. By using this idiom, you show empathy and emotion naturally. People feel your meaning instantly. Next, we have hit it off. This is perfect when you meet someone new and feel an instant connection. Picture meeting a new classmate or colleague, starting to chat, and realizing you have so much in common. That's hitting it off. I met my new teammate yesterday, and we really hit it off. They hit it off immediately and became best friends. By using this idiom, your English becomes social, friendly, and natural. It's like sharing a little story about connection. Here's another one. Keep someone at arm's length. Sometimes, people don't trust someone fully or want to stay a little distant. Imagine holding your arms straight out in front of you. That's the picture. I like her, but I keep her at arm's length until I get to know her better. He tends to keep people at arm's length at work. Using this idiom helps you describe relationships realistically, with clarity and nuance. Your English becomes thoughtful and precise. Now let's talk about trust and honesty. Bite your tongue. Imagine someone says something you want to respond to, maybe something annoying, but you hold back. That's biting your tongue. I wanted to argue, but I bit my tongue. She bit her tongue to avoid hurting his feelings. This idiom shows emotional control and subtlety in conversations. Using it makes your English sound natural and mature. Here's a fun one for social situations. Break the ice. You might remember this from an earlier section, but it's very useful with people. Imagine meeting someone new at a party or work. The room is quiet, a little tense. You start a joke, ask a question, or share a story, and suddenly everyone laughs. That's breaking the ice. I told a funny story to break the ice at the meeting. He broke the ice by complimenting her on her work. This idiom helps you talk about social interactions naturally. People immediately understand what you mean. Now, imagine someone who is always helping others. In English, you can say, go the extra mile. Picture someone running, stretching further than needed, doing more than expected. She always goes the extra mile to help her friends. He went the extra mile to make the project successful. This idiom shows kindness, effort, and generosity. By using it, your English communicates personality and character. Here's a little story to tie these idioms together. Last week, I met a new colleague. At first, I kept her at arm's length because I didn't know her. But soon, we hit it off. She had been going the extra mile at work, helping everyone. When I was stressed, she was a shoulder to cry on. During lunch, I bit my tongue when a joke was tricky, but I also helped break the ice with the team. Using these idioms, I can describe the whole relationship naturally in English. It feels like telling a real-life story, not memorizing phrases. Here's a practice exercise for you. Think about your friends, family, or someone you know. Pick 3 idioms from today: a shoulder to cry on, hit it off, keep someone at arm's length, bite your tongue, break the ice, go the extra mile. Make a small story. For example, I met a new classmate yesterday. At first, I kept her at arm's length, but we hit it off quickly. She is always going the extra mile to help others. Yesterday, she was a shoulder to cry on when I felt stressed. During lunch, I had to bite my tongue, but I also tried to break the ice with a joke. Doesn't that feel alive and natural? That is how idioms make your English storytelling smooth and expressive. Before we finish this section, here's a reflection. Relationships are everywhere, and how you talk about them matters. Idioms help you describe people, feelings, and social situations naturally. They make your English friendly, expressive, and full of life. By practicing these idioms slowly, speaking aloud, and imagining real situations, you start to sound confident and natural. So today, remember these idioms: a shoulder to cry on, hit it off, keep someone at arm's length, bite your tongue, break the ice, go the extra mile. Use them in small stories. Speak them aloud. Imagine the people in your life. Let your English paint pictures of relationships, feelings, and actions naturally. Success is something we all aim for, right? It could be at school, at work, or even personal goals like learning a new skill. English has many idioms that help you talk about success, effort, and achieving goals naturally. When you use these idioms, your English sounds confident, inspiring, and real. Imagine telling a story about your achievements using colorful phrases. It makes your story memorable and exciting. Let's start with hit the ground running. Imagine someone starting a new job or project and immediately working hard, full of energy. I hit the ground running on my first day at work. She hit the ground running when she joined the team. This idiom shows energy, motivation, and determination. Instead of saying, I started well, you can say, I hit the ground running. Doesn't that feel stronger? More alive? Next, we have pull your weight. Picture a team working together. Everyone has responsibilities. Pulling your weight means doing your fair share, not leaving work for others. Everyone in the group needs to pull their weight. He always pulls his weight in the team. Using this idiom shows responsibility and fairness. People instantly understand that you are reliable and hardworking. Here's another one: burn the midnight oil. You may remember this from challenges, but it is also very common when talking about success or work. Imagine staying up late to finish an important task or study. I had to burn the midnight oil to finish my project on time. She burned the midnight oil preparing for the big exam. This idiom shows effort, dedication, and commitment. Using it makes your English expressive and professional. Now, imagine a moment when you succeed against the odds. Come up trumps is the perfect idiom. Picture a card game. You are not expecting to win, but suddenly you succeed. He came up trumps in the meeting and impressed everyone. I wasn't sure about the exam, but I came up trumps. This idiom is natural, exciting, and shows unexpected success. Your listener can feel the achievement with you. Here's another useful idiom: get your foot in the door. Imagine trying to start a career, join a team, or meet someone important. Getting your foot in the door means you get a first opportunity, a small chance to start. I got my foot in the door by volunteering at the company. She finally got her foot in the door in the music industry. By using this idiom, you show strategy, effort, and ambition naturally in English. Sometimes, achieving success requires planning and careful effort. Make a long story short is helpful when explaining results quickly. To make a long story short, I got the promotion after months of hard work. She studied every day, and to make a long story short, she passed the exam with top marks. This idiom helps you share success stories in a natural, concise way, like you are speaking to a friend. Here's a story to make these idioms easy to remember. My friend was trying to get a job at a big company. On her first day, she hit the ground running, showing energy and enthusiasm. She always pulled her weight in the team. She studied late into the night, burning the midnight oil to prepare for presentations. One day, she faced a difficult challenge but came up trumps and impressed her manager. That first small opportunity helped her get her foot in the door, and soon, she achieved her dream position. She told me her story, and naturally, these idioms made her English expressive and memorable. Here's a practice exercise. Think about a success in your life, big or small. Maybe passing a test, finishing a project, or learning a new skill. Use hit the ground running, pull your weight, burn the midnight oil, come up trumps, get your foot in the door, make a long story short. Speak slowly and imagine the story. For example, I hit the ground running when I started my course. I pulled my weight in group projects. I burned the midnight oil to study every night. On the final day, I came up trumps. I got my foot in the door with the teacher's help, and to make a long story short, I passed with high marks. Doesn't that feel alive and confident? That's the power of idioms. Before we finish this section, let's reflect. Success is not just about results. It's about effort, strategy, and persistence. Idioms help you describe these moments naturally, showing your journey, struggles, and achievements. By practicing them in small stories, your English becomes alive, expressive, and professional. So today, remember these idioms: hit the ground running, pull your weight, burn the midnight oil, come up trumps, get your foot in the door, make a long story short. Use them in stories about work, study, or goals. Speak them aloud. Imagine the effort, the challenges, and the joy of success. Let your English shine naturally, like you are telling your own story. Life is full of surprises. Sometimes things happen when we least expect them, good or bad. English has wonderful idioms that help you talk about luck, unexpected events, and surprising moments naturally. When you use these idioms, your English becomes lively, colorful, and relatable. Imagine telling a story about an unexpected moment and using phrases that make your listener feel the surprise or excitement. That's the power of idioms. Let's start with out of the blue. Imagine sitting quietly, and suddenly something happens that you didn't expect. A friend calls you from far away, or good news arrives. That's out of the blue. She called me out of the blue after 5 years. The job offer came out of the blue. This idiom makes your English expressive and natural. You can feel the surprise just by saying it slowly, imagining the moment. Next, we have a blessing in disguise. Sometimes, something seems bad at first, but turns out to be good. Imagine missing a bus, feeling upset, but then meeting a friend on the next bus who gives you great news. That's a blessing in disguise. Losing that job was a blessing in disguise because it led me to a better one. The rainy day was a blessing in disguise. It helped me finish my book. By using this idiom, you show reflection and insight in your English, making your storytelling deeper. Here's a fun one. Every cloud has a silver lining. Imagine dark clouds in the sky. You feel gloomy, but then the sun shines through, and you notice a bright edge on the clouds. That's the picture. I was sad I failed the exam, but every cloud has a silver lining. I learned what I need to improve. Even when plans go wrong, every cloud has a silver lining. This idiom is very hopeful and positive. Using it makes your English encouraging and expressive. Sometimes luck is simple and unexpected. Hit the jackpot. Picture a big win in a game, a lottery, or finding something amazing. I hit the jackpot when I found the perfect dress on sale. He hit the jackpot with his new business idea. This idiom shows excitement, luck, and success. It makes your storytelling fun and vivid. Here's another idiom for surprise: take by surprise. Imagine someone sneaking up on you or giving unexpected news. You didn't see it coming. The party really took me by surprise. The sudden rainstorm took everyone by surprise. Using this idiom adds drama and emotion to your stories. Listeners feel the moment, like they're there with you. Sometimes we face unexpected problems. Throw a curveball. Picture playing baseball and suddenly the ball comes in a tricky way. That's a curveball. The last-minute change in plans really threw me a curveball. Life threw me a curveball when my flight was canceled. This idiom shows challenge, unpredictability, and realism in English. It makes your speech feel authentic. Here's a story to connect these idioms. Last week, I was sitting at home when my old friend called me out of the blue. At first, I was surprised and worried it might be bad news, but it was actually a blessing in disguise. She invited me to a small reunion. Even though the weather was rainy, I remembered that every cloud has a silver lining, and we had an amazing day. On the way, I found a small shop with a rare book I wanted for years. I really hit the jackpot. The sudden invitation really took me by surprise, and a small traffic jam threw a curveball, but it all worked out. By using idioms, this simple story feels alive, colorful, and exciting. Here's a practice exercise. Think of a moment in your life that surprised you, brought you luck, or was unexpected. Use out of the blue, a blessing in disguise. Every cloud has a silver lining. Hit the jackpot. Take by surprise. Throw a curveball. Speak slowly, imagine the story, and describe the events naturally. For example, the call came out of the blue. Losing my wallet was a blessing in disguise because I met a new friend while searching. Every cloud has a silver lining. The rain made the park look beautiful. I hit the jackpot finding my favorite book. The surprise really took me by surprise, and a small problem threw a curveball, but the day was amazing. Before we finish this section, let's reflect. Life is unpredictable. Idioms help you describe these moments naturally, adding color, emotion, and excitement to your English. By practicing them in small stories, your English becomes expressive, alive, and relatable. So today, remember these idioms. Out of the blue, a blessing in disguise. Every cloud has a silver lining. Hit the jackpot. Take by surprise. Throw a curveball. Use them in your conversations and stories. Speak them aloud. Imagine the surprise, luck, and unexpected events. Let your English tell your story naturally. Time is one of the most important things in life. Sometimes we wait, sometimes we hurry, and sometimes we need patience. English has many idioms that help us talk about time, waiting, and persistence naturally. Using these idioms makes your English sound calm, wise, and expressive. Imagine telling a story about waiting or being patient and using phrases that paint a clear picture for your listener. That's exactly what idioms do. Let's start with Rome wasn't built in a day. Imagine a big, beautiful city with buildings, streets, and culture. It didn't happen in one day. It took time, effort, and patience. Learning English takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day. She is improving slowly, but Rome wasn't built in a day. Using this idiom reminds listeners that success and progress require patience. It makes your English thoughtful and wise. Next, we have in the nick of time. Imagine running to catch a bus, just reaching it before the doors close. That's in the nick of time, something happening just before it's too late. I finished the project in the nick of time. He caught the train in the nick of time. This idiom makes your English exciting and vivid. Listeners can picture the exact moment. Here's a useful one. Bide your time. Imagine sitting patiently, waiting for the right moment to act. You are not rushing. She is biding her time before asking for a promotion. I am biding my time until the opportunity comes. Using this idiom shows patience, strategy, and calm confidence. Your English becomes mature and natural. Sometimes, waiting feels long. English has a fun idiom. Time flies. Imagine looking at the clock and suddenly realizing hours have passed. Time flies when you are having fun. It's already evening? Time flies. This idiom is very common in everyday conversation. It makes your English feel friendly and relatable. Here's an idiom for lasting effort. Rome wasn't built in a day reminds us about patience, but we can also say step by step. Imagine climbing a mountain, one step at a time. I'm learning English step by step. The project will be completed step by step. Using this idiom shows gradual progress and persistence. It makes your English motivating and realistic. Sometimes, people are impatient. Against the clock is a perfect idiom for rushing or working under pressure. Picture a race where every second counts. We were working against the clock to finish the project. She was against the clock before her flight. Using this idiom shows urgency and realism. Listeners can feel the pressure immediately. Here's a story to connect these idioms. Last month, I was preparing for a big exam. I knew that Rome wasn't built in a day, so I studied step by step every day. One day, I realized I had missed reviewing a chapter. I finished it in the nick of time before the exam. I had been biding my time while waiting for the right moment to ask my teacher a question. While studying, time flies. I couldn't believe how quickly the day passed. I was working against the clock, but my preparation was careful and patient. By using idioms, I can describe my experience clearly and naturally. Here's a practice exercise. Think of a time when you waited, worked, or needed patience. Use Rome wasn't built in a day, in the nick of time, bide your time, time flies, step by step, against the clock. Speak slowly, imagine the story, and describe it naturally. For example, I was learning a new recipe. Rome wasn't built in a day, so I practiced step by step. Time flies when I cook, and yesterday I finished in the nick of time before guests arrived. I bided my time until the sauce was perfect, even though I was working against the clock. Doesn't that feel alive and natural? That is how idioms make English expressive. Before we finish this section, let's reflect. Time is precious, but English idioms help you describe patience, progress, and urgency naturally. By practicing them in your own stories, your English becomes thoughtful, vivid, and relatable. You can express waiting, effort, and timing in a way that feels like real life. So today, remember these idioms. Rome wasn't built in a day, in the nick of time, bide your time, time flies, step by step, against the clock. Use them in stories about learning, waiting, or working. Speak them aloud. Imagine the moments, the pressure, the patience. Let your English flow naturally and confidently. Sometimes life isn't easy. People disagree, problems arise, and tensions build up. English has many idioms that help you describe conflict, arguments, and tricky social situations naturally. When you use these idioms, your English becomes realistic, expressive, and relatable. Imagine telling a story about a disagreement and using phrases that make your listener feel the tension, understand the situation, and connect with your story. That's the power of idioms. Let's start with bite someone's head off. Imagine someone snapping angrily at you, saying something in a harsh way. That's biting someone's head off. Don't bite my head off. I didn't mean to make a mistake. He bit my head off when I asked a simple question. Using this idiom helps you describe anger naturally, without being rude yourself. It shows emotions clearly and makes your storytelling vivid. Next, we have go head to head. Imagine two people standing face to face, arguing or competing strongly. The two teams went head to head in the final match. I went head to head with my colleague over the project idea. This idiom describes direct conflict or competition naturally. It makes your English strong, expressive, and easy to understand. Here's a common one. Add fuel to the fire. Imagine a small fire, and someone throws extra wood on it. That makes it bigger. This idiom works the same way for problems. Don't add fuel to the fire by arguing more. His comments only added fuel to the fire during the discussion. Using this idiom makes your English expressive and shows cause and effect clearly. People immediately understand the situation. Sometimes people avoid conflict. Bury the hatchet is perfect for describing forgiveness. Imagine putting away a weapon and ending a fight. After their argument, they decided to bury the hatchet. We had a misunderstanding, but now we buried the hatchet. This idiom shows reconciliation, peace, and maturity. Using it makes your English sound friendly and natural. Here's a fun one for tricky people, a pain in the neck. Imagine someone bothering you repeatedly, making things difficult. My little brother is a pain in the neck when I'm studying. This difficult client is a pain in the neck. Using this idiom helps describe annoying people naturally, in a way that listeners immediately understand. Now, imagine a situation where conflict escalates quickly. At each other's throats is perfect. Picture two people arguing so strongly, it feels like a fight. They were at each other's throats during the meeting. The siblings were at each other's throats over the last piece of cake. Using this idiom adds drama and emotion to your story. Listeners can feel the tension vividly. Here's a story to make these idioms easier to remember. Last week, I was working on a group project. One teammate bit my head off when I suggested a new idea. Another went head-to-head with me over the deadlines. I tried not to add fuel to the fire and stayed calm. After a while, we decided to bury the hatchet and work together. One member was really a pain in the neck, asking too many questions, and at one point, two teammates were at each other's throats. By using these idioms, I can describe the situation naturally, showing tension, frustration, and resolution in English. Here's a practice exercise. Think of a time when you had a disagreement, a small conflict, or a tricky person in your life. Use bite someone's head off, go head-to-head, add fuel to the fire, bury the hatchet, a pain in the neck, at each other's throats. Speak slowly, imagine the story, and describe it naturally. For example, yesterday, my friend bit my head off when I asked a question. Later, we went head-to-head about a small issue. I tried not to add fuel to the fire. In the end, we buried the hatchet, even though my brother was a pain in the neck, and two classmates were at each other's throats. Doesn't that feel alive and realistic? That is how idioms make English expressive. Before we finish this section, let's reflect. Conflict is a part of life, but idioms help you describe disagreements, tension, and difficult people naturally. By practicing them in small stories, your English becomes expressive, relatable, and confident. You can show emotions, actions, and resolutions naturally, without sounding stiff or textbook-like. So today, remember these idioms. Bite someone's head off, go head-to-head, add fuel to the fire, bury the hatchet, a pain in the neck, at each other's throats. Use them in stories about arguments, conflicts, or tricky people. Speak them aloud. Imagine the situation, the tension, and the resolution. Let your English tell the story naturally. Life is an adventure, and every journey, whether big or small, brings new experiences. English has many idioms that help you talk about travel, exploration, and trying new things naturally. Using these idioms makes your stories exciting, vivid, and easy to follow. Imagine telling a story about a trip, a hike, or a new experience, and using expressions that make your listener feel like they are there with you. That's the magic of idioms. Let's start with hit the road. Imagine packing your bag, saying goodbye, and starting a journey. It's time to hit the road. We hit the road early in the morning to avoid traffic. This idiom makes your English sound natural and casual. It's simple, friendly, and perfect for travel stories. Next, we have off the beaten track. Picture a small path in the forest, far from crowded places. This idiom means going to unusual or less popular places. We visited a small village off the beaten track. The hotel was off the beaten track, but beautiful. Using this idiom makes your English descriptive and adventurous. Listeners can imagine the place clearly. Here's another one, on the map. Imagine a town or a place that becomes famous or known to many people. After the festival, the village was finally on the map. His invention put the small town on the map. This idiom is perfect for storytelling about travel, discoveries, or achievements. It adds meaning and context naturally. Sometimes adventures are risky. Go the extra mile is perfect here too. Imagine walking further than expected, exploring more than others. We went the extra mile to find a hidden waterfall. She went the extra mile on her trip to meet the local artists. This idiom shows effort, curiosity, and adventure, making your English expressive and vivid. Here's a fun idiom. Call it a day. Imagine finishing a long journey, a hike, or a trip. Instead of saying, we stopped, you can say, we decided to call it a day. After walking for 10 hours, we called it a day. This idiom is natural, casual, and friendly, perfect for storytelling. Sometimes, we take risks while traveling. Throw caution to the wind is perfect. Picture standing on a cliff, ready to jump into the water or trying something new without worrying too much. We threw caution to the wind and tried bungee jumping. She threw caution to the wind and booked a last-minute flight. Using this idiom adds excitement, courage, and emotion to your story. Here's a story to connect these idioms. Last summer, I decided to hit the road for a short trip. I wanted to explore places off the beaten track, away from the usual tourist spots. I discovered a small village that was not known to many people, and finally, it felt on the map after sharing my photos online. I went the extra mile to hike a hidden trail and saw a beautiful waterfall. At the end of the day, we were tired but happy, so we called it a day. On the last day, we even threw caution to the wind and tried kayaking in the river. By using idioms, my story feels alive, adventurous, and exciting. Here's a practice exercise. Think of a trip or adventure you have had, or one you dream of. Use hit the road, off the beaten track, on the map, go the extra mile, call it a day, throw caution to the wind. Speak slowly, imagine the story, and describe it naturally. For example, we hit the road early in the morning. We visited places off the beaten track. One small town was finally on the map because of its festival. We went the extra mile to see a hidden beach. At sunset, we called it a day. And on the last day, we threw caution to the wind and tried surfing. Doesn't that feel alive and adventurous? That's how idioms make your English storytelling exciting. Before we finish this section, let's reflect. Adventures and travel are full of experiences, risks, and surprises. Idioms help you describe them naturally, adding color, excitement, and emotion to your English. By practicing these phrases in stories, your English becomes lively, adventurous, and expressive. So today, remember these idioms. Hit the road, off the beaten track, on the map, go the extra mile, call it a day, throw caution to the wind. Use them in your stories about travel, adventures, and exploration. Speak them aloud. Imagine the places, the excitement, and the courage. Let your English paint vivid pictures naturally. Life is full of lessons. Every day brings new experiences, mistakes, and successes. English has idioms that help you share wisdom, advice, and reflections naturally. Using these idioms makes your English sound thoughtful, meaningful, and human. Imagine telling a story about what you learned and using phrases that give advice or insight. That's the magic of idioms. They turn simple stories into memorable lessons. Let's start with learn the ropes. Imagine starting something new, like a job, a hobby, or a project. You need time to understand how things work. That's learning the ropes. I started a new job last week, and I'm still learning the ropes. She learned the ropes quickly and helped the team. This idiom shows patience, curiosity, and growth. Using it makes your English natural and practical. Next, we have a stitch in time saves 9. Imagine a small tear in your clothes. Fix it now, and you prevent a bigger problem later. This idiom teaches the importance of acting early. I fixed the small error in the report. A stitch in time saves 9. She started studying early, knowing a stitch in time saves 9. Using this idiom makes your English thoughtful, reflective, and wise. Here's another one. Practice makes perfect. Imagine learning anything, sports, music, or English. The more you practice, the better you become. I practice English every day because practice makes perfect. He keeps painting because practice makes perfect. This idiom is simple, encouraging, and universal. It shows effort, persistence, and hope. Sometimes life teaches patience and humility. Easy come, easy go is perfect here. Imagine getting something quickly, but losing it just as easily. I won some money, but easy come, easy go. She got the tickets for free and easy come, easy go. This idiom shows the balance of life, teaching us not to worry too much about small gains or losses. Here's a meaningful one. What goes around comes around. Imagine someone doing something kind or unkind. Later, life returns it to them. He helped a neighbor and later received help himself. What goes around comes around. She was rude to everyone, and what goes around comes around. This idiom teaches cause and effect in life and makes your storytelling reflective and impactful. Sometimes you need courage to take chances. Nothing ventured, nothing gained is perfect. Imagine trying something new or risky. If you don't try, you will never succeed. I applied for the scholarship. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. He asked her out. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Using this idiom inspires confidence, action, and hope in your English storytelling. Here's a story to tie these idioms together. Last year, I started learning painting. At first, I was nervous and unsure. I had to learn the ropes, how to mix colors and use brushes. I made small mistakes, but remembered a stitch in time saves 9, so I fixed them quickly. I practiced every day because practice makes perfect. Sometimes I sold small paintings and lost a few, but easy come, easy go reminded me not to worry. I also helped friends with their art, believing that what goes around comes around. Finally, I submitted my work to an exhibition, thinking nothing ventured, nothing gained. By using these idioms, I can share the full lesson of my journey naturally, with wisdom and emotion. Here's a practice exercise. Think of a life lesson, something you learned recently. Use learn the ropes, a stitch in time saves 9. Practice makes perfect, easy come, easy go. What goes around comes around. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Speak slowly, imagine the story, and describe it naturally. For example, I started learning guitar. I had to learn the ropes first. I fixed mistakes early because a stitch in time saves 9. I practiced every day because practice makes perfect. I sold a small guitar and lost it, but easy come, easy go. I helped my friend learn chords because what goes around comes around. I performed at a small show, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Doesn't that feel reflective, meaningful, and alive? That's the power of idioms. Before we finish this journey, let's reflect. Life teaches us lessons every day, and idioms help you share those lessons naturally. They make your English thoughtful, expressive, and memorable. By practicing them in stories about growth, effort, kindness, and courage, your English becomes alive and human. So today, remember these idioms. Learn the ropes, a stitch in time saves 9. Practice makes perfect, easy come, easy go. What goes around comes around. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Use them in your own life stories, reflections, and advice. Speak them aloud. Imagine the lessons, the growth, and the wisdom. Let your English tell stories that inspire and connect naturally.